Well, the World Cup, go on.
I was going to say, John Terry can still be a captain, though, can't he? Just because he hasn't got the armband on doesn't mean he can't.
Exactly. You've got many captains in the dressing room, and at that level, you know, I mean, you've got Lampard and people like that. They're all captains. They're all people that you know that G you up, and you're totally right. Even though he hasn't got the armband on, he can still be a massive influence and will be.
He's just going to lose a lot of money, though, isn't he, off the field?
He is going to lose a bit of money, but I don't think he'll be signing on anytime soon, to be honest, John.
Didn't quite mean it like that, Joe.
One thing I wanted to ask you, though, Ian, because he's almost a forgotten face in the mix now, because as we build up to the World Cup, if we'd have had this conversation 18 months ago, one of the most prominent United players would have been Owen Hargreaves. That's looking a very interesting situation now.
It is as well, and it's something that Sir Alex Ferguson has been talking about this week, when obviously it made the headlines by being left out of the Champions League squad, which was a massive thing, and this is what Sir Alex had to say about that.
The first half, in all the squad played not good. Second half, all the squad play very well. And if we have that mentality, the second...
Actually wasn't Sir Alex Ferguson, that was Roberto Mancini. We've got Ferguson now, and these are his thoughts about leaving him out, Owen Hargreaves out of the AC Milan game and the Champions League squad.
The problem I had was that it would be nice to think that we could get to the Cup final and there would be Owen Hargreaves available. But we're not in the Cup final. We've got AC Milan in 10 days' time, or 2 weeks' time. And really, we need to win that game. And if I was choosing Owen, I would have left another important player out to do that. Now, that other important player, maybe the one I need in the AC Milan game. So the decision was not so much about the later part of the campaign, it was to do with the AC Milan game. That's why I had to choose that way. Sometimes it's a hard decision, but it's the correct decision. Owen Hargreaves will not be available for the AC Milan game, and it's more important for us as a club to navigate that one. And maybe if we did, we would have a good chance of going all the way, you know. But that's not the case. His recovery is slow. That's to be said. I mean, it's a year and a half now. It's slow, and I can't put a time on it now. So I think I've done the right thing. He will be back. He could back and make an impact in a week for us, for instance, and hopefully he does. And there's more games in the week than there are in the European Cup. And of course, I don't need to register him for the league. He's already done that.
The ongoing concerns for Owen Hargreaves. Now, Andy, I know, because I remember at the back end of your career, you struggled to get back after injury. How difficult is it when you've been out 2 or 3 times with a recurrent injury to push yourself that last bit to really test yourself?
Well, it's difficult. I mean, it's hard enough being out for so long and having to push yourself in those days where you're just in the gym on your own, doing your exercises, your strengthening, your weights, and you never think it's going to end. But when you actually get to the time that you've got to really push yourself, it can be a little bit of a mental block. I mean, it was never a problem for me. I knew that I had to go and do it. If I was going to break down, I was going to break down. And that's just the nature of football. And I think that when you get to that stage, you've just got to go for it. And if it happens, it happens. If you're okay, then you've not lost anything.
Has he still got the potential to be a pivotal player, though, John?
He certainly has. I think both Sir Alex Ferguson and Fabio Capello want him in their sides. I mean, Capello would take him to the World Cup if he could. I agree with Andy. I think it's more mental now. Can he come through this? You know, Sir Alex Ferguson was telling us that a lot of the weeks he's been alone back in Canada, training by himself. I mean, that must be hard, mustn't it? So, if anybody can come back, he's an intelligent lad. He's got the mental capacity. Owen Hargreaves can, but it's a hell of a fight, isn't it?
You have to say, Ian, it's such an unforgiving business, though, that if you are out, they're thinking about replacements rather than you getting back. Because the great Bill Shankly, apparently, if you were injured, he wouldn't even speak to you, because it is that unforgiving a business. So he will drop off the radar sooner rather than later, won't he?
Yeah, well, it's already been nearly 18 months now since he last pulled on the United shirt, and it's one thing being forgotten at international level, but it's another thing being forgotten at club level, and, you know, like you say, it is a massive battle for him to get back. I wonder, Andy, do you think that this could be the end of Hargreaves' season? The fact that he's been left out of the squad?
No, I think the actual logic behind him being left out is totally right. I think if he's not going to be fit for that game, then Sir Alex needs as many fit bodies in that squad, and he would have put him in, maybe not been fit, and left a fit player out. So I think the logic is great. I think he's still got a chance. You know, like John says, I think it's that little bit of mental blockage, just wants to, you know, he's got to have to be pushed now, he's got to really go for it. And then if he's fit, he could play a massive part in United's end-of-season campaign.
Let's just finish talking about United on that European campaign. From a journalistic point of view, Andy, it's fantastic. David Beckham comes back to United playing for AC. From Fergie's point of view, is it an added factor he could have done without?
I think if you probably asked him, maybe he might say yes. But I think it's more for the fans, isn't it, really? And I don't think things like that faze Sir Alex.
I wouldn't have thought so, but he'll be licking his lips, won't he? It's a journal.
Well, to be fair, we spoke to Sir Alex on Friday about the very same subject, and he was very relaxed about it. Instead of saying, oh, it's going to be a circus, going to be this, that, he said what a great player he is. You know, he took the sting out of it very, very cleverly, so that nobody can ever go, well, why did you get rid of him, blah, blah, blah. No, he's a great player. He deserves his place in the AC Milan team, deserves his place in the England team, blah, blah, blah. So you can't be fairer than that, can you?
He might have just been saying that for your sake, though, Rico.
We've got on the paper.
It'd be interesting to see how many little clips he get in the game, won't it? 1 or 2. Do you think if Scholes's playing, you think Scholesy might just have one of those really good tackles that he makes?
Yeah, what about his big
Do you know what? That's the first time I've ever heard the word Paul Scholes and tackle in the same sentence. Do you mean do what Paul Scholes does? Because it certainly isn't tackling, Andy, is it? Let's be honest. But it's got to be... there's a certain frisson about that, isn't there, John?
What does that mean?
Edge to it.
Absolutely.
That's the last time I ever said anything in French to you.
No, I'm looking forward to it, and David Beckham will be looking forward to it. He hasn't said goodbye properly, has he, after 7 years? You know, I know he's looking forward to the game, and he's still a big performer for AC Milan. You know, I know people say, oh, he's just gone there to get practice for England. He hasn't. AC Milan thinks he can produce something, and he still is.
Ian?
Yeah? We better do it.
You get shot.
Of course we will. Just a reminder of the Dream Factory supplement, which is by the Manchester Evening News. It's celebrating 100 years, of course, of United playing at Old Trafford. That went on sale today, priced at just £1. What do you reckon?
Well, even as a City fan, I always love reading about football, so if it's 50... I'll tell you what, you read yours, if it's any good, I'll borrow it off you. OK. Time now for a quick break. Remember, we want to hear from you, so do drop us a line today at channelm.co.uk.